Dylan. Are you there, Dylan?
Yes, there I am. So, welcome everybody. As you can hear, Tyler is just chatting in the background. We are officially going live. It is a Monday night. We are racing. In the background, we can see that they are just getting ready to go into their qualifying. We did have a little bit of a disconnect issue where just as we were going in, it kicked me out. But the guys have been qualifying for the last 2 minutes. Atale is the director for this evening. And really looking forward to this. We're at Watkins Glen, round number 6, and the rain in the US is falling. So this is definitely going to make the racing very, very interesting this evening. Tyler, welcome. So guys, if you have just joined us, welcome, welcome, welcome. We see Monet, he's here, he's saying go VDV and Simstuff Racing. Remember guys that we are currently racing the Bravo tier. The Alpha tier will be up a little bit later this evening. They'll be starting at 9 o'clock. Just getting the tags right there. In shot is Roberts going on the outside, and that is through one of the most interesting corners here at this Watkins Glen International Speedway. That is all the way up at turn number 9. That is the back end of what is known as the boot of Watkins Glen. Rudi crossing line. Let's see whether he'll be able to put up a time. So Brandon is currently fastest. Jason D. Smith saying, how do we join the race? Jason, how's it? If you go check out sarco.co.za, so sorry, sarcoracing.co.za, all the details on how to enter and what to do to be a part of the racing is all up there. So definitely go check that out, and we'll hope to see you in next week's race. We do race a Setta Corsa Competizione on a Thursday night, and here we've got the vintage touring cars on a Monday. So currently Brandon DeSantos, he's top with 158.7, followed by Rudi with 159.5. That is Rockstar Mal 159.6, so very close there between those two drivers. Terry Wolfen up in 4th place, with Ross struggling to get to grips here. When he joined the lobby, he did say it's raining. There were a few choice words that he had mentioned there, which we cannot repeat. Let's just say that it was definitely a code coconut. The rabbi, he's joined saying, Lekker JohannVdV, goeie milies bra. Yes, I haven't heard that in a long time. But yes, he was definitely goeie some milies. Tian van Wyk, he's saying, have a good race, guys. Go Insomnia, go JohannVdV. So lots and lots of support for the Simstuff Racing guys here this evening. Just remember, Simstuff Racing are the sponsor for this season. If you'd like to find out more, they are in the description below, all the details on how to get hold of Johan, and he'll be able to take you through some of the new product development that they're currently going through. They do have some button boxes as well as some mag shifters for your Logitech G29. You see Donovan is sliding that car out of turn number 9. Now they'll head towards turn number 10. You'll just have to touch the brakes, get that nose turned in, get as much grip into the front of that Ferrari as you possibly can, then flick it through turn number 11. And whoever is on a lap now, this will be the end of that qualifying. Got to be very careful on the outside there. That white line is definitely not a good one. The race director does not like people going too close to the wall there. But Brandon currently fastest. Rudi, he managed to go a little bit faster, and he found himself just on about 0.5 of a second. So Rudi now 0.45. Guys, just let me know if you're hearing us clearly, if you're hearing the sound, if my volume's too loud, please let us know. We have found that when we're checking the volumes on a recording versus what actually goes out on stream, sometimes they aren't aligned. So that's your top 10. It is Brandon, Rudi, Jacques, Terry, Johan, Ross, Pete, Sarge, that look like Robert, Insomnia, which is Louis, then Colin, Dane, and then Raf. Sean Prinsloo, welcome. Saying audio is perfect, Dylan. Thank you so much, Sean. Appreciate the feedback. So we did tell the guys to please rather be cautious going into the first couple of corners. With it being wet, the cars can be so unpredictable, and the last thing we want is guys to crash out and ruin their race. 20 minutes to come, and we are ready to race as our race director jumps through some of the cars. You can see those liveries, some really great camera work there done by Tyler, directing our cameraman Tim. Thank you very much, Tyler. So we are waiting for the sync up. Once the sync up has happened, we will be racing. There we go. That was the sync that we have been waiting for. So it is lights out and we are racing here at Watkins Glen International, and you can see as the guys come off the line how the rear just kicks off just a little bit. The drivers are able to hang on to their, we're just about 3 wide going into turn number 1. That looked like Ross managed to get up a position, and he's got JohannVdV right on his inside as they start heading up towards the hill. A very, very tricky corner here through turn number 3. And the reason being that car just floats away from you as they head down the back straight towards that inner loop. The drivers will have to be very, very cautious on the brakes not to lock up, because then that car is not slowing down. But Brandon, Rudi, and Jacques, they threw. Oh, Brandon gets a little kick of the rear. There's some drivers in the background there just spinning out. We'll just see who starts dropping down the order. And that was Ryan, unfortunately. They looked like that rear just stepped out on him, and that threw him off. But he's now rejoining out at the back, right behind Raf. But the race out in front is Brandon, Rudi, Jacques, Terry, and Ross. So just over 2 seconds separating the top 5 drivers, and that was Jacques getting very, very wide. Coming out of turn number 7 there, and now into the hill, turn number 8. It's a very tricky corner. This one tends to just fall away from you as you start tightening up, and Ross now putting lots and lots of pressure on the side of Terry. Looked like there might have been a little touch there as they go up into turn number 9. Ross over rotating, so he's going to allow Terry to get away from him. And what will happen is that in the background we'll have Johan starting to close up on Ross in 6th place, looking to put a lot more pressure on him. So Brandon Dos Santos, he crosses the start-finish line to begin his 2nd lap. And we've got Rudi, who's going to have a look on the inside, but not close enough to actually make that move. And what he's done is now compromised his entry speed, and that's now allowed Jacques to close up right up behind him. Up through turn number 3, and you can just see the elevation changes there, and that car gets so light as you get to the top of the hill. Now through turn number 4 onto the back straight once again into the first phase of this inner loop. Very, very tricky. We also refer to it as the bus stop. It is a very similar corner configuration as we see in the Daytona road course. And you can see in the middle of the track there is still just that little bit of a dry line, so the guys have to be very, very careful to not heat up those tires too much, because once those tires start heating up and they get up to temperature, the Camaro always really has a little slap of the rear. That Camaro definitely gets very, very loose on the back. I see Ross has got himself a time penalty. As I've seen, Terry's now starting to drop down the order. He was up into 4th place. He's now down to 9th, 10th, 11th. So Terry seems to have had a problem there. Ross too is dropping down. So Brandon still leads this charge. Robert in 5th place. So he's now doing a great job getting himself back up the field. But he's got Sly Pete and Louis right behind him. Tyler, if we could just jump down to 6th place, please, just so we can see what's happening there. So there's Sly Pete currently in picture. And just ahead of him, you see Johan, Robert, Pete. Then it's just over 2 seconds behind Pete is Louis. There he is behind him in the black Camaro. So Terry and Ross are still circulating. But now Ross dropped all the way down to 13th place. There's a little bit of a side-by-side action, and that is Robert and Johan are going into the inner loop together. Johan's taken the inside, and that's caused Robert to have to take a little bit of a shortcut. But now it looks like JohannVdV is missed the boat, because he's now dropping down into 8th, and that's allowed Pete to sneak up on the inside. So I'm not sure whether the two just lost sight of each other, because Robert went very, very cautiously. He ended up going up on the inside of the grass. Johan went a little bit wide, and it looked like he might have lost the rear and put it onto the barrier, because he's now down into 8th place with Dane starting to close up on him. So that's Louis, car number 11. And Colin, he qualified a little bit further down the field than he would want to. So he's got himself up into 7th place. I'm pretty sure that he'll be very, very happy with that. There he is in the 55 Ferrari. And right behind him now, he has Johan. Johan looking for an opportunity to go into turn number 10. Not close enough for that move. And the guys have been listening to some of them saying that the rear is so loose in this Ferrari, especially when the water starts settling just a little bit. A flash of the lights there for Johan. I'm assuming just to try and intimidate Colin in front of him. Looks like Johan got a great exit coming out of turn 1. Now it will be for him just to make sure he gets a great line through turns 2 and 3 and sucks up right behind Colin on the exit of turn number 4. But Colin took a lot of curb on that inside there. Back to the battle between Pete and Robert. And Pete's managed to hang on to that as he slides that car through the second phase of that chicane. And it looks like Pete was able to let forced Robert to back off a little bit. It doesn't look like the Camaro is as agile through there as expected. If Tyler, we could just jump to the front there. We see Brandon is still out in front. He's got Rudi right behind him, less than a second. And then Jacques in 3rd place. He's not letting this battle go. And this is very similar to what we saw last week. These guys were at it as Brandon rotates that rear. Massive, massive drift for him around turn number 9. And that's going to get Rudi chomping at the bits, I'm sure, to see that that pressure that he's been applying on the back of Brandon is starting to pay off. Just looking at some of the comments coming through, we see Adrian Bond, he's joined. He said, come on, WY, you look like you're driving in the rain. Don't worry, Adrian, your term is coming. And a familiar silverback, go boys, Simstuff Racing, hashtag good vibes. Adrian, always great to have you, and we have always said that if ever there was a award for the most emojis, you are the winner, sir. So Brandon, Rudi and Jacques, 11 minutes left of this heat 1, and we are in the Bravo tier. We will have the Alpha tier starting at 9 o'clock. So Terry has moved himself up into 10th place, and that looks like we've just lost Ross. So there have been some PlayStation issues over the weekend. The guys were saying that the servers for Project Cars 2 weren't playing like they should. We did manage to get this up and running this evening, but some of the guys might just be experiencing a few issues, and hopefully we will see Ross back in the next race. So in shot is Robert. He's got Louis behind him 1.7 seconds and Sly Pete ahead of him by a 1.2. You could just see on the map that's come up how close those first three are. They've basically put about a three corner gap between the fourth place driver. So 23 seconds is the gap there. So these out in front have been absolutely flawless so far. We did see Brandon Santos get it very, very sideways through turn number 9, but he did manage to hang on to it as he touches the curb on the outside, trying to get that car under control. Rudi's going to be on the outside. He might just have to let Brandon sneak on in again. But now less than half a second between these three drivers as they now go onto the back straights. So big moment there for Brandon. And Rudi definitely took it nice and easy, didn't try and force a pass going through a very, very tricky section. You can see that best delta 1.8 seconds. So this is definitely be a slower lap time as Rudi gets a kick of the rear going on the exit of the chicane. So now that's released a little bit of the pressure on the back of Brandon. And Jacques, I'm sure now it's going to be the time where he's going to start pushing as Rudi smashes up against that outside wall. And Jacques is able to sneak up on the inside. Rudi, once again, trying to get that power down. It kicks the rear, and that forces him wide and touches the barrier on the outside of turn and number 6. So Rudi's got it all to play for now. And just looking at the current championship positions, Brandon Dos Santos is currently in 5th place overall. Rudi, he's currently in 1st place, only 11 points ahead of Jacques. So if Jacques gets a good result here, he'll be able to close up some of the points over Rudi and get closer and closer. We are around number 5. So after this round, we will only have 2 more races left of the season. And man, oh man, has it been a very, very interesting season, considering that going into round 4, the first 3 drivers were separated by 1 point as Louis gets at Camaro very sideways as he heads up towards turn number 9. So Johan in 6th place. Colin, he's still in 7th and still going to have a little bit more breathing space between himself and Louis in 8th. And Adrian, you're absolutely correct. The rain is going to be coconut. So that is Raf now side by side with Ryan going into turn number 9. Ryan's going to try to go around the outside. There's going to be enough space there. He just manages to keep it off the wall. And now as both those drivers are, I can only imagine that they've both got a little bit of damage because both cars are just weaving side to side on the straight. But we are getting to that point where the track is going to start just filling up with a little bit of water. There might just be a few little places where the track is flooded. The car touches that and it just veers off without any control. So race leader Brandon Dos Santos had a little moment where he put himself in a very compromising position, but was able to fend off from Rudi. And there's Jacques in the background. He touches the curb on the outside, but manages to get that sorted. So we did get a message from Ross saying, well, that just about sums up his day. He got DQ'd for spinning backwards and coming out of the last corner. As we see Jacques now, the rear kicked and he landed up going backwards into the pits, and that landed up disqualifying him. So Ross, do not despair. You still have one more race, and we have 5.5 minutes left of this heat. So Pete in 4th place. He's managed to keep himself out of trouble this evening. Pete is in 4th place overall for the rough riders. 29 points behind Robert. So he should be able to also close up just a couple of points to fight for that 3rd position overall. Because Rudi is ahead with 225 points. Rockstar Mile or Jacques 214 points. That's 11 points behind Rudi. Robert 22 points behind Jacques with 192 points. Then it is Pete, Brandon, Louis, Ryan, JohannVdV, Donovan, Raf, Dane, Ross, Colin, Terry, Michael, and then Reeve. So Louis is giving it everything he can to try and close up onto Colin. You could just see how quick that Camaro is down the back straight now. But this is where the Ferrari should be able to hold its own, getting the exit out of the inner loop. Now he heads into the outer loop. Louis looking for that gap, waiting for Colin to possibly make a mistake. They now head down the hill towards turn number 7. A corner that is nice and banked. You can carry a lot of speed through there, and you can just see how Louis is getting that power down. He's putting himself up onto the inside for turn number 8. But now it's going to be the battle on the brakes. Will Louis be able to just sneak up on the inside? He decides to rather let Colin take that line. So Louis tightens up. But in the background there, we've now got Dane. Colin's day call racing partner. Colin scrubs up against the wall on the outside. That's going to hurt that exit speed. But it does look like that Louis is not close enough to force a pass just yet, as Colin slides that through turn number 11. So 1.6 seconds is the gap between Pete, currently in shot, and JohannVdV just behind him. So that is the battle of the Ferraris currently. 2.5 minutes left. Back up the hill And back to Colin, battling against Louis as Colin gets it very sideways, very late entry, lots and lots of curve. Louis trying to sneak up on the inside curve through the outer loop, trying to find a way around Colin, as Colin slaps it rear through the chute. Slides it out of turn number 6. Now back down the hill towards turn number 7. You can hear Colin using the gears to help slow that car down to get it rotated. So Pete is pretty sure that he can start seeing that Johan is starting to close down as Johan gets very close to the outside wall through turn number 9. Johan a little bit sideways as he rejoins now into turn number 11. So 1 minute left. So this should be the last lap. I'm sure Pete was going to be hanging on to this position as long as he can. Johan is getting ever so closer. Just under a second now separates them. Cameraman Tim got a little bit confused there, but here we've got Brandon coming down the hill towards turn number 7. There's Jacques in second place. So he has managed to overtake Rudi, and looking at that previous lap time, that's probably when it happened, because Rudi 2 minute 20.7. And Brandon a 2:03. Is currently the fastest driver on the track. Great control there by Johan as he flicks that car through and slides it through down the hill into turn number 6. Now turn number 7. Johan takes a tighter inside line where Pete goes for the wider, and Brandon will cross the line in first place. We'll jump back to this battle between Pete and Johan. Jacques crosses the line in second place. So very, very good battle there between Pete and Johan to the end as Rudi crosses line in third place. Last corner attempt here for Johan. So Pete will hang on to his fourth place, followed by Johan in fifth and Robert in sixth place. Followed by Colin, then Louis. So a great little battle for them right at the end as well. Dane crosses the line in ninth position, followed by Ryan. So there's confirmation. Ryan comes home in 10th place with Raf in 11th position. Right, everybody, so that concludes the first heat here in the Bravo tier. And Sean saying, Johan, your finishes are classic. Yes, we definitely do see Johan using a little bit of flair when he crosses the lines there. So that is the final standings. Brandon, then Jacques, Rudi, Pete, Johan, Robert, Colin, Louis, Dane. And then in 10th place was Ryan, followed by Raf, and then Terry. Right, guys, we're just going to be taking the qualifying out. The guys will then go into a rolling start. From that rolling start, we will get the second race underway. So guys, let us know what you thought about the racing. Who would you put your money on for the next race? Understanding that we do have a reverse grid, the top 6 will now change places, which means that Robert will start out in first place, Johan in second, Pete in third, Rudi in fourth, then Jacques in fifth, and Brandon De Santos, he will start off in a 6th place, followed by Colin, Louis, Dane, Ryan, Raf, Terry, then Ross and Donovan. So the guys will just be getting those invites to the chat party, so they're able to just hear what's happening in terms of the driver's orders. So Tyler, I'm not sure whether you're in the lobby and you can just hear what's happening there. Tyler, are you able to hear me?
Sorry, Dylan, we're just getting everyone into a chat party.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And if you can just remind them that no overtaking until they've crossed the start-finish line.
I'll do that.
Thank you kindly. So Sean Prinsloo saying that this is a tough one. It's wet and anything can happen. And he's saying he's going to go with Jacques, his Rockstar Mal, and Adrian Bond, of course. The true patriot, saying all the Simstuff Racing guys. So guys, if you have just joined us, we are just about to get going on the second heat. And that is the Bravo tier. We did start right on time, and as you can see that we are tracking ahead of time, which is absolutely fantastic. We did have a few drivers. Donovan, he unfortunately, it looked like that he had left, and Ross landed up spinning out of the last corner, going backwards into the pits and disqualifying himself. So we did go down to 12 drivers. but we are back with all 14. So really looking forward to a great race and reverse grid once again. So we'll have Robert starting off in first. Then it is Johan. Pete will start off in a fourth position. Rudi in third. Wait, hold on. I'm reading those numbers. Apologies. Robert's first. Johan second. Pete in third. Rudi fourth. Jacques fifth. And then Brandon De Santos will be starting in a sixth place. So now that everyone is locked and loaded, we can bring the sound back. Tyler, so you were in the lobby with the guys. What was just the mood and the morale within the Bravo tier?
Sorry, Dylan, what was that?
I said you were in the lobby with the drivers while they were getting ready for the second race. What was the atmosphere like in that lobby?
Oh, guys are just talking about the tires. In the first race, obviously trying to keep them warm, and then now for the start of the second race to actually have a faster out or first lap to get into position. Also to keep the tires warm.
All right, 100%. So they are talking strategy, and it's more about how we're going to go for the next one, as opposed to people talking about this is what happened and you hit me and you touched me type thing.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there were too many incidents. Terry put himself in the wall and ended up with like 86% damage. So he was just trying to start everyone's away. Yeah, but it didn't seem like anyone was complaining about any incidents, so all good.
So guys, if you have just joined us, this is the formation lap. So the guys are just getting themselves into position, and you can see that we are back to 14 drivers. So thank you, Tyler, for that inside information in the lobby, just as the guys were getting ready to go racing once again. So I see Taryn Heidemann, she's joined us saying, go hubby. She's hashtag Sly Pizza and loves all the way through. Did get to see Taryn yesterday at the karting, which was actually pretty awesome to have Pete racing with us in our Blazing Fantau. That looked like there was a Ferrari going sideways. It looked like it was actually Pete's car that was a bit sideways there. Might have just been that trying to get himself into position. So out in front is Robert for Simstuff Racing. And I must say this definitely has been a quicker outlap. And Tyler, you did mention that the guys wanted to go a bit quicker just to get some heat into those tires. So let's see what this race will now deliver. 14 drivers. Donovan is back. He's down in 14th place. At Ross 13's Terry. We heard that made a mistake, put himself in the wall. And we saw how very, very easily that can happen. We did see Brandon De Santos nearly going a bit sideways there, just touching that outside curb. Jacques hit a curb as well. So now they will start getting themselves into position. It looks like there was somebody that's gone into the pits. So it looks like Rudi's had to take a drive-through penalty, because now he's dropping down the order as that whole field is now going to race past him. And Robert now leads here in heat number 2 of the Bravo tier. And you can see the little white dot. That is still Rudi in the pits. Definitely not what he wanted, because that's going to put lots and lots of pressure on his championship leading position that he currently has. But there's still 16.5 minutes left of this race, so anything can happen. Brandon looking to the inside. He's moved himself up into 4th already, knowing that he started down in 6th. So he's climbed up a few places. Johan taking a lot of the inside curb on the exit of that outer loop. Great shots of that number 47, Sly Pete, as he changed the gear and hit that amazing backfire. Brandon dos Santos will have a look to the inside now into turn 5. Oh, that's Brandon getting very, very sideways on the power. He just manages to coast back on the track, and that's unfortunately put him back into 5th, and Mal Jacques now moves himself up into 4th. So lots and lots of action already happening as Robert starts opening up a gap with him going into turn number 8. And still the field is extremely close. You can see a single foul up the hill towards turn number 9 as Colin slides it very, very sideways. He's got Ryan behind him, both drivers in a Ferrari. Colin taking a little bit of a defensive line going into turn number 10. You can see how Colin flicks that Ferrari in, and once again Brandon getting that car very, very uncomfortable, sliding that Camaro out on the outside, and that definitely has impacted him. Little look to the inside there for Louis and Terry. That was a very close there, but it looks like that Louis is now dropping down the order there, so I'm not sure whether he had to back off or whether he had spun. But Terry seemed to have got through there okay. He started in 12th place. He's got himself up into 8th already. So Terry's also on the charge here, coming through the field. So Pete has got Jacques ahead. That's Brandon spinning out in the background there. He's now gone into the wall backwards. So he's facing the wrong way. So Brandon dropping down the order. What a change of events that we're seeing here now. And that is our invite for the Bravo Alpha tier. Apologies, Christopher, thank you very much for that. We will be with you shortly as Ross drives a lot of curb, and so does Terry. Terry's trying to find a way around Colin. Colin in 6th place, but he's putting that Ferrari in all the wrong places for Terry. JohannVdV now in front. Robert had a little bit of a comfortable gap there, but has unfortunately a drop down. We have Johan out in front. Then it is Robert. Slap Peters, Johan, big power slide there out through turn number 9. We did see Brandon dos Santos do that, so it didn't really catch me by surprise as it did with Brandon doing it in the first heat. So Johan now starting to open up a gap between himself and Robert. So it is currently a Ferrari, Camaro, Ferrari, Camaro, Ferrari, and tires in the background. That is tires all over the place, and it looks like Ross is involved once again. And Louis, yeah, that was Louis just managing to avoid him. So that is Dane and Ross. Ross not having a great night this evening. He'll go into the pits, wondering whether that will be to get some damage fixed. But out in front, Johan is taking control of this race, throwing that car left and right through the inner loop, now through the outer loop, nice and controlled, no weird power sliding, because all that's doing is slowing you down. Now Jacques looking for a way to get ahead of Pete. Pete slides it through turn number 6. And Ryan, he's just hanging back there, currently in 5th place. I'm sure he's going to be looking for an opportunity, waiting for a little mistake, and then he will take advantage of whatever he can. Definitely looks like that these Ferraris are a lot more sideways than the Camaro counterparts. See Colin sliding that car in a 5th place. He's got Terry Wolford behind him. Sorry, Colin in 6th. Terry's in 7th place. Ooh, that's very wide there for Colin. That could possibly be a time penalty. But Rudi, having had to take a drive-through penalty, he is back up into 8th place. You can see the best lap time there for Rudi. And looking at the times, is that he is currently the fastest car on the track. So it does seem like Robert's starting to just get a little bit of a groove back, because now that gap has dropped under a second. And that it is Johan, Robert, Jacques, Sarge, Pete, Colin, Terry, Rudi, Donovan, Louis, Brandon, Raf, Dane, and then Ross. So that is your battle for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. And no, that's Robert going very, very wide on the brakes into turn number 6. So that's now allowed not only Jacques to go through, but Ryan, he's now up into 3rd place. And we've got Robert now down into 4th. And I'm pretty sure that Pete's going to be chomping at the bit now. Will he be able to get himself up into 4th place again? That would be his 2nd 4th place in a row for this evening. You can hear how Johan was just feathering that throttle. Ooh, a little bit of curb on the inside there into turn number 9. So that is the first 5 drivers all in the same screen. So while this battle is going on, if you can just jump to 9th place there, please, because I see that there's another little a tussle happening there. And that's between Brandon, who has Louis in front of him, and Terry. Terry was up in 7th place. He's now dropped down to 10th. Let's see Louis getting very sideways on the exit, turn number 11. So Donovan, we know that he disconnected in the first heat, but here he is fighting back in 7th place. He does have a Colin 6 seconds ahead of him. And Louis in 8th place has got Brandon Dos Santos trying to get him down, as that's very, very wide there for Louis. Will Brandon have the inside line here into the inner loop? So a great overtake there by Brandon, great awareness there by Louis. Saw that Brandon had beaten him, and he had to unfortunately concede that place, but that puts Brandon now up into 8th place, and it drops Louis down into 9th. Around the outside goes Brandon. Will Brandon be able to hang on to that? Louis, he goes very wide. That puts him up into the wall as well. So Brandon was able to go around the outside of Donovan, puts him on the inside for turn number 7. So Brandon is now up into 8th. We've just seen a message come from Rudi saying, what a pity. He got the drive-through penalty. Unfortunately, Terry had lost control of the car and hit Rudi. And that is unfortunately the end of Rudi's race. Unfortunately, that's how it happens, Rudi. The points are going to be extremely close up in the front now. But there are still 2 races left of this championship. And we're really looking forward to seeing you back next week. So back to the front, and Johan still has Jacques just under 1 second behind him. So Jacques now 0.7. It is absolutely crazy that we have 6 minutes left. And it's currently JohannVdV has put down the best sector time there. But he did get it just a little bit out of shape coming through the inner loop. But it does look like that these last 5 minutes, so these last 3 laps, is going to be the survival of the fittest. Whoever can hold their cool, as we see Johan sliding that Ferrari out down through turn number 6. But we know how cool and collective Jacques can be. He'll just wait for that opportunity, and I'm sure he's just going to want to be applying as much pressure as he can. And we can see there JohannVdV put in another fastest best sector. So this is a really quick lap there for Johan. At the same time, while he's putting down one of his quicker laps, he still has Jacques just behind him waiting for that opportunity. Ooh, kick of the rear there for Jacques, so that's going to slow him down just a little bit. But so far so good for Johan. He is really taking this pressure, absorbing it, even though Jacques seems to be getting a little bit quicker. As he crossed the line in a 2:04.1, so Jacques at 2:03.6. So Jacques currently the fastest of the 2. We will have 2 laps left after this one, so they should circulate again. But now on up onto the back straight, we'll jump on board with Jacques. You can see how small that Ferrari looks in comparison. Will Jacques go to the outside? Yes, he does. Johan will stay on the inside as we head into the braking zone. You can see side by side. Jacques will have to let Johan go through. Great control there for both the drivers. Thought Jacques might try and set up a move to go around the outside, but you can just see how terrible this visibility is in the rain. Johan just about goes wide, touches the grass, and will Johan slide? Yes, he does. He loses control, goes up onto the inside, and that now allows Jacques to go through. So Johan was hanging in there with all his might, a little mistake, and Jacques was right there to pounce and capitalize. So we do have a new leader, and there's Sarge in the background. He's also now closing up onto the back of Johan. The question is, does Johan now have damage on his car, and is that going to impact him for the rest of this race? There's Robert in the 4th position, followed by Pete in 5th. Big power slide there for Brandon. He does make it look so good. With Brandon very close up onto the outside of that bumper. There's Donovan in 8th position. He is kind of stuck in no man's land. He had Terry behind him just over 11 seconds. Colin in front of him. And that's Terry getting too much curb on the outside of turn number 8, and that put him straight into the wall, but he was able to flick that Camaro around and get it going again and not lose that position to Raf, who's coming up. But not only is it Raf coming up, but then it's Dane Ross as well. So these guys, even though they are further down the field, are still having it all a mighty battle. That looked like Johan had over-rotated that way too much, but he has managed to control the car, so he is still going. So we've now had a little taste of what these cars are going to do when we go into the Alpha tier. We definitely know that the action is going to be as heated. There's going to be a lot of a sideways racing. So we have one more lap left to go. There's only 1 minute left of the clock, but the guys are heading through the last 3 corners, so they will get one more lap in. You can see Ryan, big power slide there for him. He's got Robert right behind him, so he's also waiting for an opportunity. Terry down in 9th place. Oh, now 10th place. So Terry's dropping down the order. He's got a time penalty. Brandon Hill saying, but Brandon, let's just hope that you have a better race than you do this evening than your race on a Sunday. But don't worry, bud, we were right there with you. We had a extremely challenging race yesterday at the F400 Endurance Series. So our race leader, but we say race leader, Johan is still 1.3 seconds behind. Ryan in a 3rd place is just under 3 seconds. So it's been an absolute great comeback here by Sarge. Remember, Sarge started down in 10th place, and here he is up into 3rd. So to the guys that were worrying about the performance of the oh, there's been a mistake by Jacques, and Johan's gone through. So Johan is out into 1st place with Jacques in 2nd. This is going to be an absolute ding-dong battle with these last 5 corners. Johan's going to have to just hang on there. Any little mistake and Sarge is right there ready to pounce. Now they head towards turn number 8. Oh, I thought Jacques would have a little bit of a look there. But Johan's been able to hang on to it. He's just got to get it nicely set through turn number 9. And try not to touch too much curb on the inside, because that couldn't affect the exit. But Jacques not able to capitalize on that line that Johan took. Now Johan flicks it in through turn number 10, and he gets a little kick. That might be a time penalty. So Jacques now was going to try and go around the outside. Looks like Johan tried to squeeze him a little bit. Johan will cross the line in 1st place with Jacques in 2nd, Ryan in 3rd. Man, oh man, that was extremely close at the end there. Guys, we're just getting the current points in as we see Donovan doing what Ross did, so that will give him a disqualification. Oh my goodness. So we're just working out who the top 3 drivers are for this evening. So guys, please just stand by. We will get this done in the next 2 minutes or so, as we just watch the timer running down in the background. We got Raf crossing the line in 10th position. Okay guys, we do have those final results that have been posted, so we're just waiting for our top 3 to come and join us in the Discord. But man oh man, guys, what do you think about that racing? Absolutely a crazy end there. It looked like Jacques had it in the bag, and then a mistake by him on that last lap then allowed JohannVdV to come through to take that win in the end. An absolute cracker of an end there.
Okay, just
I will say nothing. Just blame it on the big mosquito. That's all.
Okay, welcome guys. The top 3 for the evening. In 3rd place overall, Brandon DeSantos. A win for you in the first heat, and then a little mistake going into the 2nd heat. You then managed to claw yourself back and just gather some points, but a 3rd over you. A 3rd overall for you. Happy with your race this evening?
Yeah, I was actually very happy. The 2nd race, we're going into bus stop. I don't know what happened. I know guys were going very slow, and it was either a rear end Mal or try to avoid him. So I tried to avoid him and I spun out. But after that, I put my head down and I just tried to make up as much time as possible. Yeah, but it was awesome.
100%. Yeah, there was a little moment where I just about lost my breath. You're going through turn number 9. Got that Camaro extremely sideways and basically carried the slide the whole way through. And then only to see that Jacques might have just gone over you. But an absolute fantastic performance there for you. Well done, man.
Thank you.
Then Johan, let's go to you. Started in 6th place for you in the first heat, getting yourself to start off out in front for the second one, and a crazy battle with yourself and Jacques. Then Jacques made some mistake on the you were able. Let me try that again. You made a mistake. Jacques was able to capitalize. Then Jacques made a mistake on the last lap and gave you that win in the last heat, which basically gives you a second overall.
Yeah, I was wondering if that would be called as team orders, as usual. But we're not in the same team. I actually finished 5th in this first race. But yeah, it was... that car is daunting when it's behind you. It looks like it wants to swallow you. And Jacques was pushing so freaking hard that I had some flashbacks from that GT3 series or the GTE series when you were in the Corvette. But yeah, Jacques had a brilliant freaking push there. I just grabbed the wheel and just, man, it was super tense. Luckily, I had no sort of crazy incidents. So yeah, it went well, and I'm happy considering the wet.
No.
Thanks to everybody. Jacques, freaking hell, man, quick.
100%. Well done there, Johan, and you had lots and lots of support coming through. I'm pretty sure you'll be happy with that when you go and watch the stream again later. Then to you, Jacques.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Top of the orders for you. Little mistake on the last lap, and it could have been a win for you, but unfortunately not. But a great drive for you in the end. Hello, Jacques. Can you my word?
Thank you.
There, I've got you now. You've just muted yourself. Are you happy with your result?
Yeah, I must say the
Oh, guys, it does look like we have lost Jacques. He does seem to be frozen there. We're just looking to see what's happening in the Alpha tier, and it does look like they're just about ready. So to Brandon, Jacques, and Johan, great driving there for you, and looking forward to seeing what happens next week. Thank you very much.
Thanks to all the guys that supported. Big up, man. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much, and we hope to see you on the Alpha tier. Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks.
So there we go, guys. My thumbs up just has given the go-ahead to our host this evening, which is Christopher here for the, let's just change that little tag, the Alpha tier. And then joining me as the race director this evening, we have Ryan. Ryan, how are you? Difficult race there for you, man.
Going. You say that.
Yeah, man. It looks like the Ferrari was quite a handful in that wet.
Yeah.
And looking at obviously the result for Johan managing to get that Ferrari out on the top, do you think that that's something that Christopher is going to be able to do here in the Alpha tier?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So guys, you can see we only do have 9 drivers here in the Alpha tier. Unfortunately, Ashley's not well this evening, so he's not able to join us. Myself, as you can hear, that I am in the commentary box. Andrew Horn, he did give us a call a little bit earlier to say that he's having some issues with his internet, and unfortunately would have to withdraw from this evening. We then have Gerard, who should be back next season, and that's because of he celebrating the birth of his latest child. Is I think about three weeks now. So, Gerkie, we hope that you are watching. And then Craig, who is unfortunately away and not racing. So you can see how the drivers are trying to get as much heat into those tires as possible, because once the qualifying it gets underway, the track does start getting wetter and wetter, and that little racing line that you see starts disappearing, and it makes very, very tricky conditions.
Dylan.
Yes.
Yeah, probably around the 12 to 12 minutes race you can get curbs in.
Okay, so Ryan, you were breaking up there, but what it sounds like is that from that 12 minutes you start getting the puddles, and that's what makes it very, very tricky. So now that the drivers have done their first outlap, we can just have a quick look at what's happening in the position. So Jake's, he's out in front. He's 42 points ahead of Marius, who has Christopher 16 points behind him. We then have Brandon Hills. He's in 4th position with Dirkie in 5th. Gavin, he's in 6th, but very close between Dirkie and Brandon. 2 points separating those two there. Then Andrew, he's in 7th place, 16 points behind Gavin. Ashley down in 8th. Lendl, he is in a 9th position. Adrian, he's in 10th with Tyler Scott in 11th. Vaughan Hills, he's in 12th. Stephen down in 13th place. We see Stephen, he is here this evening, currently 7th on the leaderboard there. Then we have Craig in 14th, Gerard, and then myself. So extremely tricky. Hold on. Where is Adrian? I'm just looking at the starting lineup here and I'm not seeing Adrian. Oh dear. So guys, for some reason, Adrian Bond, if you're listening, why aren't you in the race here? 156s. Holy cow. So the first 5 places: 156, 0, 156, 2, 156, 3, 156, 8, 156, 8. So that is absolutely incredibly fast times out there. Adrian, let's just see if we aren't able to get the guys' attention. Ooh, big hits up on the outside there. So guys, we are just trying to see if we can't get Christopher's attention here, just so that we can get Adrian Bond into this lobby as well. Ryan, I don't know if you're able to just talk to the guys.
No, let me just.
Alright guys, what's happened is you can see that everyone is starting to just quit out of the lobby. Adrian Bond, apparently you did get your invite from Dirkie, but the Alpha Tier has been very kind to exit, so just look out for that invite and let's get you racing. So guys, if you have just joined us, we are in the Alpha Tier. We have seen there's Adrian who has just joined us. We will be redoing that qualifying, and some absolutely crazy times we saw there. 156.0 by Christopher, 156.3, 156.3, 156.8. That was the top 4 drivers. And I think Brandon's qualifying time was a 2:03 if I'm not mistaken. So we don't see Adrian Bond in the lobby yet. Once he joins us, we will be good to go. There we go. We have contact ignition. Let's go racing.
Dylan, any sort of idea?
Sorry, Sarge, you're breaking up. All I got was any sort of idea.
Idea of Mossad when he'll be joining the racing?
Yes and no. So yes, Uzo would have raced this evening. Ashley would have stepped in and done the commentary, but with him being off ill, it seems he got himself a bit of a spider bite, and he's been running a bit of a fever, so he has taken it easy. And unfortunately, Stephen Koenig, who would also help with the commentary, which would allow me to race, his internet/power in the area he's living in has been so unstable that he did send a message this afternoon saying that he unfortunately would not be able to due to continued issues. So once I found the balance of who can and can't commentate, I'll be racing. I do miss it though, I must tell you, I do miss it. So guys, we can see how the drivers here in the Alpha tier are weaving those cars left and right to try and get as much heat into those tires as possible. The more heat you get, the more grip you get, the faster that you can go. And I'm pretty sure that they are going to try and make use of that little dry line that you can just see. You can see how Christopher slapping that car through. And we did see that in the Bravo tier. A lot of those drivers getting those cars very, very sideways.
From our side, Dylan, that wasn't.
So that wasn't intentional. You can see Christopher and Jake's going very, very sideways there, weaving the cars left and right. Ooh, big tail slap there for Dirtke in the background there in his black and yellow Camaro. So now that the drivers have done their outlap, it is now time for them to get a time lap in, and it looks like Marius is out on track first, so he will be the first to set a time as there's a car spun around at turn number 1. I think that is Gavin in the blue Camaro. That is correct. So that is just, as I say, it's just destroyed any chances that Gavin has of qualifying. But with a 2:12 left, he'll have to complete this lap and then has one final chance to see whether he can't get a good time in. So just looking at some of the comments that have come through on YouTube. So we got Enrico Lowe saying, well done Johan, excellent wet weather driving. Raf is saying, go Adrian, have a lacquer race. Silverback saying, yeah, he needs an invite. Okay, now I understand what's going on there. Then Johan saying, that was such a hectic race. Thank you everyone that supported. You boys rock. So guys, as we've mentioned before, the drivers do enjoy those comments. They do go back and watch after the fact. Marius very sideways on that exit of turn number 8, and this turn number 9 is so deceiving because you're kind of going up over a blind curve. The car starts just getting a little bit light and then it just tightens up on you. So Marius very, very close to the little Ferrari that is out in front of him, but that Ferrari is going to run wide. That's going to be a time penalty. Let's see when they cross the line. So that is Vaughan Hills 156.2, 156.7. Durkee 157.9, Brandon 158.2, Stephen 158.5, Jakes 159.0. Then Vaughan a 2-minute, little touch in the background there, and that little Ferrari let go going up the hill. And that is Vaughan Hills. So getting himself out of the way as the rest of the field comes past to put in their second qualifier. So Vaughan retiring to the pits. He's currently in 7th place. Christopher, he too retiring on a 156.2. Will that be enough for him to stay out there? You can see Jake's a 159.0. So not being able to match his qualifying from that first heat just yet. There's Brandon in the background, very sideways, getting that power on through turn number 6. So Marius, he will retire, having not been able to get in another hot lap. Durkee, he's currently up in 3rd place on the grid. So that's Durkee just ahead of Jakes. Now they'll come through turns number 10, then set themselves up for turn 11. So Durkee crosses the line. Does he go quicker? He puts himself second. And Jakes moves up into 4th. Ryan, just jump to Gavin for me, please. Just want to see if he is still circulating. Well, there's Gavin. He crosses the line, only 7th quickest. So the restarting of this race has definitely had its toll on some of the drivers. Christopher just managing to stay out on top there. And Durkee, a great comeback for him, puts himself second. So this is heat number 1 of the Alpha tier. So that is the sync completed. It is Christopher and Marius side by side. It is lights out and we're racing, and the Ferrari bogged down off the line, which allowed Marius to get a great start. Jakes and Durkee side by side through turn number 1. Jakes decides to rather run himself a little bit wide. And he has Brandon and Stephen right behind him as they head up the hill into turn number 3. Oh, that's Durkee catching some curb on the inside. That's put him up into the wall. And it looks like that's Vaughan who managed to catch Durkee on the way through there. So that is very unfortunate there for Durkee, but now we jump back to the front. Jakes is in 2nd place with Marius in 3rd, and he's got Brandon Hills right up behind him. We then have Stephen and then Gavin. So the first 6 places separated by 3 seconds. And it is very congested there through turn number 6 at the stage. Stephen going defensive, not allowing Gavin to get up on the inside of him as he heads up into turn number 7. So it looks like Gavin was able to sneak up. Cameraman Sim's a bit confused there. So Gavin has got himself up into 5th. So there's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and a 6th place, all currently in the one shot. Christopher very, very close to that outside wall. He'll go into turn number 10. And still just a little bit of a dry line on the track still. But that, as Sarge had mentioned, that from about the 12th minute, that track starts getting very, very slippery. The puddles start forming as Jakes is going to have a look on the inside of Christopher. They're going to hold their line, go too wide into turn number 1. That's going to allow Christopher, because he would have had the faster line on the outside. But that's just some of the close racing action that can be expected here in the Alpha tier. It is very close, very competitive, but very fair. You see, neither one of the drivers decided to cut the other one off, and has allowed enough space. In the background, we have the two racing butts are fighting it out there. Brandon still ahead of Gavin as they head into the outer loop. Brandon in the little Ferrari versus the Camaro. I say little Ferrari. And here he uses those gears to get that car turned in. And Jake's now having another look on the inside. Point 1 is the gap there. Little flash of the lights there for Brandon. Obviously releasing Gavin, realizing that Gavin is going quicker than him, and rather let Gavin through and start contesting the 3 guys out in front. So up into turn number 9. Marius looks a little bit wide. He just manages to hang on to that line. I did think that he might run wide and touch the wall on the outside, but he did manage to keep that car under control. So Marius now trying to get closer to Jakes. Jake's having another little look to the inside, not close enough to make a move. We did see in the previous lap they were side by side going through turn number 1. And it looks like Jake's has got a much better run than Christopher. And he's managed to get the power on side by side as they go through turn number 4, now into the back straight. And you can see the Camaro just edging its way ahead. Now into the inner loop, a little kick off the rear there for Jakes, and Christopher a car length behind him. They go into the outer loop, and Marius is starting to close up on the inside of Christopher. Christopher sliding that car and flicking it through, and you can see really using the rears to help rotate the car. Jakes moves to the outside, Christopher still right up behind him. And it does seem like Christopher's able to take a little bit of a tighter line than Jakes is in front of him. I just want to see what happens here into turn number 8, whether Jakes will run wide and Christopher will ride the curb on the inside. And it definitely does seem like that Ferrari is taking the tighter inside line as Christopher powers out through the corner right behind Jakes, and there's Marius just behind him. Gavin 4.5 seconds off Jakes. So we'll see what kind of lap times the guys are doing now as they cross the line. As Marius touched the curb, a little kick of the rear, so that's going to slow him down a little bit. You can see a 57.9 for Jakes, 57.86. And a 59.3 for Gavin, so not quite catching up to these guys just yet. I honestly do not know how the Christopher and Jakes did not touch there coming out of turn number 1. It did seem like Marius got the better line coming through the turns number 3 and 4, because even though he he had that little kick of the rear coming out of turn number 11. He is right back behind these two. We see Dirkie now going to the pit, so I do believe that he's decided to rather go and get that damage repaired. But this is once again the race for first, second and third place. Ryan, just jump to 6th place there for me, please. Because down in 6th place we've got Stephen, and then just behind Stephen is Adrian Bond. So they were just a little bit closer when I first spotted them. But now they're going through the outer loop. Adrian trying to close down on Stephen. And I know there was a few words had between these two. Little words of encouragement, I would say, where Adrian just about challenged Stephen, and Stephen accepted the challenge. So really cool to see that these two are within a place of each other and battling it out here on the Monday night vintage touring cars. So there's a change out up in the front. Jake's, it's dropped down to 3rd place. Looks like he's got a time penalty. So he was obviously trying to avoid getting that penalty, and that allowed Christopher and Marius to go through. And now Jake's is 2.5 seconds behind Christopher, who now leads this race with just over 11.5 minutes to go. So Jakes is the only driver who does have a time penalty on his hands. You see Vaughan going into the pits, and I'm just wondering whether it was a little mistake by Dirkie which found him going into the pits, or whether he did go in for repairs. We did see that Ross, he ended up losing the car coming out of the last corner, put himself backwards into the pits and got himself a qualification for that, a disqualification for that effort. But Dirkie is back on the track, and he is circulating once again. So as he comes through turn number 11, we will see Vaughan in the pits. So it does sound like that Vaughan was leaving the pits as Dirkie was coming around that the first corner. So this is now the battle for first and second. There's Jakes in the background there. You can see 1:59.2 for both Christopher and Marius. We're at 2:07 for Jakes. Gavin 2:01. So he's now starting to just fall off the pace a little bit. Brandon Hills, a 2:02 for him, a 2:06 for Stephen, and a 2:05 for Stephen, 2:06 for Adrian and Tyler. And then Dirkie, we know that he did go into the pits, so that 2:21 is not a true indication of his pace. Morris playing very dangerously on the inside curbs. So now Christopher and Marius starting to close up on some of the back markers. So they will be closing up on the back of Vaughan and Dirkie. So there's Vaughan there in front of the shot, and I'm sure that they will be giving him a couple of lights just to tell him that they're coming through. So Marius is now right up on the back of Christopher. So Vaughan moving on to the inside of the track, allowing the front runners to overtake him without any indication, listen to me, without hampering their lap times. So Christopher will start his 7th lap. .159.6 for Christopher, 159.5 for Marius. So Marius currently the quickest on the track. Jake's 2:02, so he is losing about 0.7 a lap now on the two in front. Into the inner loop they go. And such a tricky corner, specifically when it's wet, because that car is changing direction. You've got the nose down, then you turn to the right hand side, the rear gets very loose. You then got to bring it back to the left. Oh, a little slap on the rear there for Christopher, coming out of the outer loop. But now this is where he should be able to just get a little bit of breathing space between himself and Marius, just through the couple of the twisty sections here. You can see Marius very wide, just about touching that inside barrier, and that's just released him between himself and Christopher just a little bit. So Marius, Jakes and Gavin, all three of those drivers now have a time penalty which they will be needing to serve, which will be added to their end time as Marius runs wide out of turn number 8. So Christopher starting to close up on the back of Dirkie for a Rockstar Racing. We did see his teammate Jacques first overall for the evening for him in the Alpha tier. So that was 1 second for Marius, 3 seconds for Jakes, and it looked like a 1 second there for Gavin. As Marius is wide into turn number 1, is that going to be an advantage now for Jakes to start closing up? But what it has done is it has released Christopher out in front. So there's the gap now between Jakes and Marius, now just over 2.1 seconds, but that's now just under 2 seconds is the distance between them. See Jakes making sure that only one wheel is across the white line. If you get 2 wheels over that white line, it is deemed off the track limits, and you are then forced to serve a slowdown penalty. So the distance between the drivers now, with just under 5 minutes left of this first heat, Christopher out in front by just under 3 seconds now. Then it is Jakes, Gavin, Brandon, Stephen, Tyler, Adrian, then Dirkie. So we do have one retiree, and that is Vaughan Hills, after that damage that he incurred. He did go into the pits, but just wasn't able to get that momentum going again. Ryan, can you just bring up those time penalties again, please? I just want to double check the times there between them. Okay, apologies. So I said that I thought it was the 3 seconds for Jakes. It is only 1 second between himself and Marius, but you can see those fastest lap times and the difference between the fastest lap time, which would have been the second lap of the race, compared to now. So the guys are going at just about 4 seconds a lap slower from their second lap to where they are now. So in shot with Brandon, who's got himself ahead of Gavin. So I'm pretty sure that he might have made a little mistake, did Gavin, as he runs wide there into the inner loop. So Brandon really comfortable now in the 4th place, also knowing that Gavin has a time penalty. So 2.5 minutes remain of this race. And Marius is still in 2nd place. He has opened up just a little bit of a gap there between himself and Jakes now, so that has extended to just over 4 seconds now. But there's Christopher out in front. 2 seconds is the gap now between the 1st place driver and the 2nd place. So 2 minutes 2 left, and depending on how quickly Christopher does this lap, we might actually get an 11th lap into this race, because it was 2 minutes 2 left when Christopher crossed that line, and he's been doing a 2-minute flat. So the question is, does he slow down just enough so that that time runs out, or does he push to try and get another lap in? My honest opinion, he should try and just nurse it home, manage the gap between himself and Marius, and not have to go and do another lap. .55 seconds left of this first heat for the Alpha tier, and Christopher the man out in front, qualified in 1st place. Marius managed to jump the start on him, and Christopher had to fight his way through. Then a mistake allowed Jakes to get ahead of him. But now Christopher is leading the race with just a few more corners left, but that's 23 seconds. Still not sure whether he has gone slow enough or quick enough to do another one, or has it gone too fast and he's going to have to do one more lap. So it does sound like he is slowing down. That's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So he has crossed the line, but that is not the end of the race. It does look like Marius was slowing down there. So I'm almost wondering whether that has not confused the time once again, because now it's allowing Christopher to keep going. Can you just jump to Marius for me, please? So Marius is definitely on a slow lap. Just jump to Jakes. So that is some really strange, because it looks like Jakes is still up to speed. Just go to Gavin, please. So Gavin, he too is on a fast lap. But that's Marius cruising around, and I think what's happened there is it hasn't registered that it shows Marius that he has finished the race. So we have seen this before, where both Jakes and Marius had crossed the line at just about the same spot, and one of them registered that the race was over, where the other didn't. So We will just check the stream and take the results as where it Christopher had crossed that line, because as you can see, Marius now dropping down into 5th. Marius doesn't have control of his car.
Yeah, Dylan, I'm just listening to the guys in the chat room where Christopher and Jakes are still racing, but Marius said his races.
Yeah, so we definitely will take the results as Christopher crossed the line, because nobody was able to push or change any positions, but we did see it, we did pick it up, and yes, Marius definitely doesn't have control of his car. That car is basically returning to pits on its own.
Yeah, Gavin and connected.
That car is basically. So I'm just going back on the stream just so I can get those results. So the guys must just stand by for the final results. So just looking at the stream is that you can see that the time has gone 0. Christopher hasn't crossed the line yet. So that means that technically that race was over. So that there is the final positions. So guys, we did check the stream, and if you look on the Discord, is that the time ran out 0:00. Christopher had not crossed the line yet. So once Christopher had crossed the line, that is technically the end of that race. So the results have been logged as of that end of lap number 10. Ryan, you're in the chat party with them, eh?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay, so they do understand that the results that are up there are as per the end of lap 10 is the results that will be taken. So an extremely interesting end to that race. We did see that Christopher crossed the line. He continued racing. Marius's car slowed down, having registered that he had finished the race, and drivers were then overtaking him. Having re-looked at the stream, you can clearly see that Christopher hadn't approached the line just yet. So the results will be taken as of the end of lap number 10. Looks like we've got a few disconnections happening there, so the guys are not having luck now with this restarting of the second race. Okay, so the drivers had retired and spectated. We are going. So once we get back into the lobby, I'm pretty sure that we will be good to go. It did seem like Marius disconnected. So we have 10 drivers in the lobby, so we are good to go. So Brandon, yes, it is extremely weird, and it seemed like he did slow down enough. If you have a look on the Discord, the picture is there, and you can clearly see that the time is done but Christopher hadn't crossed that line just yet. So what is going to be happening is we will be starting in the following orders. Stephen will lead us away, followed by Brandon, then Gavin, Jakes, Marius, then Christopher. And as you can see again, the guy's having a very quick outlap. And that's to try and get the heat into those tires. Ooh, Marius goes a little bit aggressive in through the inner loop exit. So we are not racing just yet. The guys are still on a formation lap, but I'm pretty sure they will slow down now, just to make sure that everybody is bunched up and ready for the start of the second heat of the Alpha tier. So you can see Stephen starting to bunch up the tire. What on earth happened there? That was pretty weird. Ryan, did you see that?
I did see that. That was, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so Stephen has now got everyone lined up. We can see that we will be having a rolling start. Once everyone is in position, it is up to Stephen out in front to decide when he wants to go. But it does sound like he's keeping it right till the end. And obviously with the Ferrari, he wants to try and minimize the advantage from the Camaros as possible. So Stephen now leads us into turn number 1 with Brandon Hills in second place. Then it is Gavin in third. Jakes is in fourth with Marius fifth. Then Christopher. Tyler Scott in seventh. Dirkie is in eighth. Vaughan in ninth. And then Adrian down in 10th position, as Jakes is just about side by side with Gavin as they come up through turn number 4. But now it is too wide. Brandon and Stephen. And then Gavin and Jakes. This is not looking good. Oh, Stephen. Looks like he had turned in and taken Jakes right underneath him. But now Stephen is, it looks like he's out clear. So was that a bit of a lag? Did they not know that Jakes had got so far up? Because it doesn't look like there's any damage on Stephen's car. And it didn't look like that he was affected at all by that. So very strange indeed. Lots of weird things that we've seen happening on Stephen's car. But still the battle happens. Gavin now having a look to the inside on Gavin. He's got Marius on his outside with Christopher trying to attack him behind. You can definitely see there's a bit of damage on Jakes' car. But as Stephen leads with Brandon, and then Marius sneaking up on the inside of Gavin. That was a great move for him. But Marius just about touching the outside wall. Christopher now looking to capitalize on getting up the order. He's right behind Gavin now. So Brandon now goes into the pits. I wonder whether that was not a jump start from him. So Brandon now will need to be rejoining down in 10th place, which leaves Stephen out in front. Marius is in second. Oh, Christopher, big tail slapper there for him. And here comes Jakes now on the outside. It looks like he should be able to get the drive around him on turn number 4. Then it is Gavin. Dirk is moving up the order now. Then Tyler Scott in 7th place. Side by side through the inner loop is Christopher and Jakes. That is something you do not want to do, but they've managed to get through there unscathed, the both of them. Jakes is wide. Christopher a tighter line on the inside. It looks like Stephen had a little bit of a moment there because he's now dropped further down. He's in 2nd place. Marius is now the new race leader. And here comes Dirkie in the black and yellow Camaro. And Gavin, he's not giving up this fight just yet. He's still fighting hard there. But now Jakes has Christopher all over his rear bumper.
And Dylan, there is one thing when the racing's so close, that spray from the track, the rain, and really makes it difficult.
Yep, I can imagine that, especially when you're going too wide, and then you've got 4 cars as close as we're seeing now. The car down in 4th place is not going to be seeing anything, so I can only imagine as the Stephen touches the outside wall, he's going to have both Christopher and Jakes having a run on him. Oh, what's that? Stephen touched the grass on the outside. Christopher has a little look to the inside. Looks like Christopher's moved himself back up to 2nd place. So he's now got the run on Jakes. I wonder if that wasn't a little puddle that Stephen picked up there, because all of a sudden that car just shot off the side. So Christopher has got Jakes behind him, and not only Jakes, but there's Dirkie. Marius has been able to open a 5-second gap lead between this battle. Dirkie's a little bit too hot into the first phase of the inner loop, but Christopher touches the grass on the outside. That's made it very, very tricky for him to find his line going through the outer loop. So Christopher's able to open up a little bit of breathing space between himself and Jakes. So if you have just joined us, this is the second heat of the Alpha tier. We have had 2 very, very interesting races in the Bravo tier. Brandon Dos Santos winning one of the heats, as well as JohannVdV. Jacques, 2 second places for him, puts him as the winner overall. And this is round number 6 of this very, very interesting championship. We do head on to round number 7 next week, which is Oschersleben A. That's going to be absolutely incredible, because not only do we have some more rain, but we have 2 different weather settings. It is light rain in the first heat and overcast in the second heat. So different driving styles. The guys are going to have to be practicing across the 2 different conditions. That's going to be interesting. So Brandon, he goes into the pits once again. That's the second time we've seen Brandon going to the pits. And that gap was 5 seconds between Christopher and Marius. And it does seem like Christopher is starting to close up on the race leader. Even though you can't see him, he is definitely going to be closing up, just looking at the time and the distance between them. Ryan, can just jump there to Dirkie, please. can see Dirkie just touching that outside curb at turn number 6. A very, very tricky corner that, because you're braking downhill. The corner goes to the left, but it seems to just fade to the right. So it does make it very, very tricky. Then you add the rain, and that makes it even more challenging. Dirkie taking a lot of curb on the inside of turn number 8, and he's battling to get that power down. You can see how that rear just had a little snap. As you can just hear as he powered through there, how the car just revved up, so a little spinning of the wheels. So they will cross the line to begin their 6th lap, and we have 9 minutes left, and Marius out in front. He's got Christopher 4.2 seconds behind him. So Christopher only being able to find 0.2 of a second that time round. And the battle between Dirkie and Jakes is that Dirkie found 0.1 against Jakes. Ooh, lots of inside curb there. That just looked like it disrupted his braking a bit there. Gavin, he's still not out of this battle for a podium spot. He is about 3 seconds behind. There he is there. And he was 0.3 off the pace of these two in front of him. But as we've seen, anything can happen. One little moment can change the entire dynamic of this race. Well, that's Jakes getting up on the curb on the inside of turn number 7. So that's got Dirkie right up behind him. And Ryan was talking about the spray, and you can just see how bad it is. Definitely not able to see the braking markers as you would want to. As then I head up the hill, you can see how this corner goes into a little blind rise, and that car just floats over the little crest there. And what makes it even more interesting is that even though it's raining, the angle of the sun is still shining through the clouds, making conditions a little bit more tricky. So that gap between Christopher and Marius now comes down. You can see Christopher pulling a second on Marius there. A 2-minute 8 for Marius and a 1:59.9 for Christopher. Jakes 2:02.7. Dirkie, if he finds 0.5 of a second, and not only that, but Gavin finds 0.5 off Dirkie's time. So these three are going to be much closer coming the end of the race. With 6.5 minutes left to go, we're on lap number 7. Then we have Adrian having a little battle with Brandon Hills. Brandon gets a little run on the inside of him. Brandon, great a dive there on the inside, able to take that position away from Adrian. So a great overtake there for Brandon Hills. Cameraman Tim a little bit confused there, but we do catch the action. Just see how that car just almost over-rotated there for Dirkie. So less than 3 seconds is the gap now between Marius and Christopher. That is obviously going through a hairpin because now it's gone more than 3. And Dirkie is slapping that rear. And look how close Gavin's getting. So Gavin is definitely not out of this battle yet. So 3 seconds separates Jakes and Gavin. 5 minutes left of this race. And Christopher should be able to see Marius now. And you can see Marius 2:04, Christopher 1:59.5. So that's another second that Christopher's taken out of Marius's time as Christopher touches the inside curb. That bangs him to the outside, so that's going to definitely impact that straight line speed. So any attempt that Christopher had, I'm pretty sure that that is his hopes down. Because that happened so quickly, you could just see he was just coming through turn number 4, just touched the inside curb, and the car just spat him off to the outside, up against the barrier on the back straight. As he now heads down into turn number 7, you can see the damage on that left hand side of that Ferrari. So we go back to the battle for a 3rd place. And Jakes has a Dirkie behind him. So Jakes, the quickest of the 3 on this lap. We did see Gavin was putting a lot of pressure to start closing down. He was at one point the fastest of these 3. So Dirkie does seem a little bit wide, just running the car out on the curb out of turn number 10. 3 minutes left to go, and what are the times when they cross the line? So 301.3, 301.8 and a 301 dead. So Gavin is still closing up. Oh, sorry, apologies. That's 301.3 for Christopher. Dirkie closing up on Jakes' time. And unfortunately, Gavin losing nearly 2 seconds, 1 second, apologies, that time round. But Dirkie getting a good drive up through turn number 3, but unfortunately runs wide and he touches the outside barrier. So that would have taken away any advantage that he got of that drive out. So that was really disappointing to see. So guys, we have 2 minutes left of this race, and don't forget that this series is proudly brought to you by Simstuff Racing. If you'd like to find out more about some of the products that they offer, the details are in the description below. You are able to get hold of Johan, and he'll be able to take you through some of the product designs that they have and concepts that he is working on. Guys, please feel free to get hold of him. So Dirkie is still putting a lot of pressure on the back of Jakes. Ooh, little kick of the rear on the brakes there. You can see how that Camaro just squirmed up on the brakes. So Dirkie, big power slide out of turn number 9. Will he be able to have a look on the inside here into turn 10? Not close enough. So he'll have one last lap to get the move done and get himself on the podium. So 2.5 seconds separates Marius and Christopher. Oh, both Jakes and Dirkie getting that car left and right as they come out of turn number 1. Jakes is very wide. He's going to have to come off the power, so he's going to touch the wall. And it looks like Dirkie followed him. But now he should have a slipstream advantage. Will Jakes go defensive? Yes, he does. Dirkie follows him through, but he should go wider to get the drive through the inner loop. Jakes is able to hang that car up on the inside line. So that was an extremely close moment there for Jakes. almost losing out that position. You can see the right hand side of Dirkie's car. That definitely did touch the wall there. Dangerous area that going out of turn number 6. Oh, that's Dirkie touching the inside wall again. And there comes Gavin. I'm sure Gavin will be wondering whether he'll be able to take advantage of this now. But Dirkie must just fuss bait. Or bait fuss. What's it? It was Gavin up on the inside. Saw there was a puddle on the exit of the hill, turn number 8. And he must have caught that puddle and it just pulled him into the wall. And that is the end of the race. That is Marius, who comes home in a first position, with Christopher a well-fought second. Jakes, he comes home in a third place, with Dirkie in fourth. Gavin finishes in fifth position. Tyler Scott, a great consistent drive there for him. He comes home in a sixth place. There's Vaughan Hills. He will finish in seventh. Unless Brandon's got something to say. But it does seem like Brandon, unfortunately, your brother Vaughan is the fastest Hills in the Simstuff Racing event this evening. Then Brandon, that's he'll take an 8th place, and then Stephen in 9th position. So guys, I do want to just save that replay, just so we can get a view of what happened in going into the inner loop. Some really strange things there between Stephen and Jakes. So it'll be really interesting to just go have a look. So Ryan, thank you very much for your help this evening. I do appreciate it.
No problem. Interesting and entertaining race.
Yeah, definitely. And the results that you expect wasn't always what happened. So pretty interesting there.
Stuff, and we'll check you out next one.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Cheers. Right guys, we're just waiting to get our top 3 for this evening, and while we just wait for them to join, let's just have a quick look at some of the products that are on offer from our sponsor, Simstuff Racing.
Sound check.
Let's see if this video manipulator is going to work. Yay!
There we go, Marius. I can see you, I can hear you, Christopher.
Look, I'm sweating from that race.
How's it?
Alright, I can't see you guys, so I'm just going to go out and come in again.
Awesome.
Flat out.
Fatsua, Jakes.
Yeah, that second race was a havoc.
Yeah, it was a weird race.
Yo, man. I made a mistake and I got stuck behind Jakes and Steven. And then that's when you got away. But other than that, it was a good one.
Yeah, you were catching me very quickly in the end.
Okay, there we go, my Jakes. We can see you.
Yes.
Alright, cool. So let's start off with you, my Jakes. Third overall for you for the evening. That second race going into the bus stop, it looked very, very strange. So you were side by side with Steven. Then all of a sudden, it looked like Steven followed the line as you would normally. You landed up on his roof. He carried on as if nothing had happened, but then it looked like there was damage on your car.
Yes, Dylan, there was damage on my car. I was on my screen. I was also next to him, and when he braked, his car just sideswiped me. The rear of his car pushed me to the wall. That was from my view, and I had damage in the rear of my car, so I had to manage that whole race. And there's two things of this race that I didn't like at all. First is the rain, because I can't drive in the rain. And then it's the track. I hate Watkins Glen. So it just both those factors just went against me. But well done to these other oaks, Christopher and Marius. Well done. They finished equal points for the night, and and they are coming closer to me. So hopefully the next race is dry. Dylan, is it dry?
So interestingly enough, my Jakes, it's a yes and a no.
Ooh.
And the reason being, because we are racing at Oschersleben A, the first race is light rain, and the second heat is overcast.
Okay.
Interesting.
So, a little mix-up of the format there, but third overall, I'm pretty sure that you were happy there. You did have Dirty
I'm happy.
Chasing you hard in that last heat.
Yeah, no, he was. Luckily for me, he on that last lap, he also made the same mistake that I did going up that hill that fast, turn number 3 and 4. And luckily, he also made a mistake because I also went to the wall. He would have gone past me if he didn't make that mistake. So luck was on my side there as well.
Yeah, 100%. We did see that. Let's go to you, Christopher. A win for you in a second place, but with Marius having the most recent win, that would have put him on top of the table for this evening. Happy with the race and the car. Just take us through how the car was working in the wet.
You know how I feel about the Ferrari. We won't mention any of the words that I mentioned about the Ferrari.
Please no.
It's a lovely car. It's a beautiful car to drive. Okay, it was first race was brilliant. We had some amazing battles. I was lucky enough to get into the lead and just pull a bit of a gap. I had a little bit of a buffer with the guys behind because most of them had penalties. So I didn't really have to push too hard in the end, especially in the conditions when the tires started getting colder. It was a lot more difficult. Second race was a bit more interesting. quite a bit more difficult. The first lap going through the third corner, the hill, almost put it in the wall. Managed to save it, and then going into the bus stop, there was quite a bit of traffic, so we had to avoid the incidents. But I made a mistake later on in the race, and then I fell back behind Jakes and Steven and battled quite a bit to get past them. And then had to try and chase Marius, who was about 5 seconds ahead, who was flying. And in the end, I just started closing and closing more and more each lap. And again, I made another mistake in the third last lap. So that was my race. Trying to catch Marius tonight. He was absolutely flying. But yeah, well done to Jakes, well done to everyone, well done Marius. It was awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, awesome, great result there for you, Christopher. Let's go to you,
Thank
Marius. Managed to put the Mamba Fever pills today?
Yeah. Yeah, the first race was quite exciting. It was nice. Unfortunately, I had two time penalties very early in the race. And I had to let guys pass to let that elapse. So I had to, play catch up.
Yep.
But I still got, one of them didn't go away. Because I thought in the end I can catch Christopher maybe if there was one more left. It was very close. It was a good race. The second race was a little bit disappointing that there was glitches going on. It wasn't a normal race in the beginning. So that spoiled it. It made a gap between us.
Yeah.
Which made me just manage the race basically. I watched Christopher when he passed Jakes and Steven. I saw that he was catching me a second a lap.
Yeah.
So I was just watching that if he comes too close, but I couldn't slack down too much because the tires get so cold in the end. You actually struggle to keep them heated. But yeah, it worked out nice for me. That was a gift, the second race, basically.
So I just want to just touch on the first race. I'm pretty sure that there were a few choice words that were said when Christopher crossed the line. Christopher's still racing, and then your car goes into the return back to pits. Luckily, we did get that on the stream, and we did have a picture of that. The time went 0:00. Christopher hadn't crossed the line, so that was where we took that result from.
But yeah, on my screen, the moment Christopher crossed the line, the race was over for me. So it started counting down.
Yeah.
So I didn't have control. They were all telling me there's another lap, but I can't do
I
anything.
told Marius, go Marius, go. He said, I can't, I don't have control.
No, 100%. We do have it, and that's obviously the beauty of having the live stream, that we can go back and review some of those things. But guys, thank you very much. Some absolutely fantastic racing. Lots of enjoyment was had by all. And we can't wait to see what happens at Oschersleben A when we mix it up a little bit. A little bit of rain here, a little bit of overcast there.
Flat out.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Cheers.
All right,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
guys.
Keep well. Bye.
So to everyone who
Cheers.
joined us on the stream, thank you so much. We really do appreciate you tuning in and joining us in the support for the drivers. As you've seen that they do come back and look at and read all those comments later on. Guys, if you do want to get racing with us, you can go and visit sarcoracing.co.za. All the information is up on there on how to enter, as well as how to join us in the Discord, so you can get up close and personal with the drivers. Guys, we'll see you next week, Monday at Oschersleben A. Otherwise, we'll see you on Thursday. That is at Zolder. Really looking forward to that in our ACC league. So, guys, until then, all I can say is be safe, keep racing, and thanks for watching. Yos.